In this section, we talked about exchanging data on the internet. We talked about JSON data and XML data. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It is a syntax for storing and exchanging data. JSON data is written as name-value pairs. For example, if this pair holder is the name and genre is the value. JSON data type can be number, string in double quotes, boolean, true or false value, array in square brackets, object in curly braces, and null. An object is an unordered collection of name value pairs. An object represents an associative array and delimited with curly brackets and use commas to separate each pair. The keys are separated from the values by the colon. Null is an empty value. An example of object is here. In the first pair, symbol is the name and Google is the value. And in the second pair, price is the name and 450 is the value. An array is an ordered list of 0 or more values and enclosed by square brackets. Elements are separated by the commas. This is an example. This array, stock prices, contains multiple objects. Each object is a price. Now we talked about XML data. XML is older than JSON. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, and it is a markup language much like HTML, designed to describe data, not to display data. Let's look at an example of an XML document. Stock quotes is an XML element. This root element contains 3 stock price elements. Each element is everything starting from the starting tag to the ending tag. An element may contain multiple other elements in it. Each element may have attributes as well. XML data is organized in a tree structure. Each element may have child elements. For example, the root element has a child, and the child on its turn had its child as well. That is a grandchild. And from the child, the parent element is the root element. Elements that have the same parent are the siblings. On this page, we discuss how HTTP requests are completed starting from your computer's browser. When you type in an internet address on your browser and you request a page, let's say x.php, the request is sent to a web server. Assume that the requested page is PHP. PHP will interpret and then send the HTML code back to the server. And the server sends the output back to the browser, and your browser displays the result on your computer. The interpreter is normally stored on the server, the same server with the web server, and the server pages are also stored on the same server with the web server. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The two most commonly used methods are GET and POST. In general, the GET method sends form input in the URL. So if you submit a form and later on looking at the address bar of the browser, you see the parameters follows the name of the page, then it is the GET method. The POST method sends form input in an HTTP header. So if you submit a form and you don't see anything after the page name in the address bar, then it is the POST method. What is URL? URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It consists of the network protocol, can be HTTP, FTP, or mail to. Then the host name or the address, for example, finance.yahoo.com, and the file or resource location, for example, index.php. The URL may contain a query string, for example, starting from the question mark. You use this query string to query needed data from Yahoo Finance. In the query string, there are multiple pairs. Each pair is separated by from other using the ampersand. And in each pair, you will see the name as well as the value. So with this query string, you mean that you want to query the web at yahoo.com for the stock symbol AA. AA is the stock symbol for Alcoa Inc. A equal to 10 means that you want data from November. So 0 is January, 1 is February, etc., etc. B equal to 1 means that you want to get data from the first day. C is the year 2006. That is the starting time, ABC. And then DEF is the ending time. G equal to D means that you want the daily prices. And Y equal to 0 means that you want to get the first block of prices. This page illustrates how the code runs at the server side. This example code was written using PHP and the underlying database is Oracle. CI connect function allows you to connect to the Oracle database using the password and the username. And then a query string is formed, is analyzed. The SQL statement is then run against the database, and the loop returns data in a table format using HTML. There are several ways for acquire data from the internet. You can either You can use web browser control in both VBA and VB.NET. You can automate web browsers. This method can be done in both VBA and VB.NET as well. Or you can use the WinHTTP services and web queries. This VBA example crawls careerbuilder.com to get jobs posted there and write to an Excel file. The graphical interface is simple. On the form, you have a web browser control. When you click Start, the code automatically clicks the Find Job button for you. And of course, you need to type in the keywords first. Then it waits for the data, and then grab the data, write the data to an Excel file. You can go from page to page to get all the data. And write to a worksheet. As you can see, column A stores the title, column B stores the description as well as the locations. Allow the wait until the web browser becomes ready. When the form is initialized, you navigate the web browser to careerbuilder.com. You may want to set the silent property of the web browser to true to prevent some JavaScript error. On careerbuilder.com, the name of the button Find Jobs is QSB button. So you can programmatically click the button using the syntax starting from the web browser, document.all.item, and give it the name of the button and call the click method. There are only 25 jobs on each page, and it is set to I item per page max. And let's say you want to get data from a number of pages decided by I page total. So you need two loops, two nested loops. The outer loop is for pages and the inner loop is for each page. In each page, you loop through the jobs. With each job, you get a title, the description, the company, and the location from the web, and then write the title, description, company, and location to a row in worksheet 1. If the code gets to the last job on the page, you may want the code to click the next link for you, so that you get the jobs from the next page instead of using the web browser control. Another way is to automate the Internet Explorer web browser. So first you need to create an object of Internet Explorer browser, and it is an application object, and the rest of the code is similar. S_raw words is the name of the text box keywords on Career Builder, and you assign the value property to a string finance, and you ask the code to programmatically click the button find job for you. Normally, each element has both ID and name. You can find element by ID as well. So get element by ID, and you give it the ID of the element you want to find, you want to get. And in this case, it is s_raw words. It is the text box for keywords. And you assign the value property to a string finance. There are some other useful methods, such as get elements by tag name, get elements by name, and by class as well. This page illustrates how you go from an element to another using the document object model. Starting from the root element, the first child of the root elements point to the first child, and the parent node property of this element refers back to the root element. The next sibling property refers to the next element of the same parent, and previous sibling property refers to the previous sibling of the same parent. From the root element, last child refers to the last element, the last child element. You can also use WinHTTP services. In order to do this, you have to add reference to Microsoft WinHTTP services. And the code is very similar as with web browser control or automation. In this example, you declare a web as of class WinHTTP request, and then create a new HTML document. And then you call the open method using get and request for an Ethernet address, and call the send method. The result is returned in the response text property, and you store it in the inner HTML property of the body property of the object HTML document. Web query is another way to get data from the web, and it is used in Excel. Doing this manually in Excel, in the data tab, you click the from web button, and then in the new web query dialog, type in the URL, and this URL is for querying the stock price of Alcoa Inc. That we discussed before. And then after clicking import, the data is imported into the worksheet for you. You can see the connections by clicking the connection button. You can specify the properties of the connections, such as the enable background refresh, or refresh at every 60 minutes or 30 minutes, etc. For web queries, another way is to prepare an IQR file. And this file is actually a text file. It contains like this. And you run the file by just double-clicking it. This slide shows how to program web queries. In the sub-procedure get data, create a web query by calling the add method of the query table's property. This query table's property is actually a collection, and give it the arguments. The first argument is the connection. In this argument, you specify the URL. So you form the URL by concatenating strings together. The first part of the string is actually the web address of Yahoo Finance, and then the query string. The query string is formed by concatenating the arguments passed to this sub-procedure, including the symbol, the month, from day, from year, which is the starting date, starting time, and the ending time. All the arguments are concatenated in the string for the connection argument. And the other argument is the destination, where you specify the range of cell that you want to copy the data. And you may want to set the properties of the web queries. For example, background query. You can ask it to refresh at every hour or every time you open the workbook, etc. And later on in the submit procedure, you call to the sub get data and give it the parameters that you want. So for example, this get data query, stock prices for AA from 2013 to 2014, from the 1st of February to the 1st of March.